you've got a lot of fingers in a lot of pies. You're creative and you're an ideas man and you're a man that wants to see other people do their best. So there's a lot going on there. There's a lot to unpack.
But I've had some mad ups and downs, you know. As I say, I lost 700 grand.
700 grand?
Yeah. And that was everything I had. I had that money and then I had to do more with it.
Yeah.
And I gave it away.
What do you mean?
I gave it away. No one really knew this, and I've only said this on one other podcast.
Yeah.
I got a phone call one day when I had my gym from some gangsters trying to extort money from me. Instead of going to the police, I trusted someone to help me kind of deal with it. All this shit went on. I got a gun and a bulletproof vest. It was a really dark time in my life.
Hi, I'm Ella McChrystal, and this is The New Mind. Today's guest is James O'Keefe. And if you know James, you are blessed. If you do not yet, you will be blessed by the end of this episode. He is significantly better as a human than most of us, which he would disagree with.
You need to speak to my wife.
I love him and I love his Instagram and I love the work he's doing. He is an Oxygen Advantage breathwork practitioner, founder of Unguarded Warrior, and many, many other things. And you're going to find out all about that today. Welcome, James.
Thank you. That's such a kind and very biased and not true introduction. If anyone really knows me, you know.
If you know him, you know him.
Yeah, you actually know.
But I genuinely mean that.
But that's very kind of you. But it makes you feel very weird.
And uncomfortable. Are you squirming?
I'm trying to get out of this chair. But
May I leave now?
I appreciate you. Likewise, I think, seeing what you do and your story and everything, I'm genuinely in awe of you and what you've come through and what you're doing, and I really enjoy spending time with you now. We've had that nice meeting and before.
You see, this is why I said you're a blessing. You're just so kind and so lovely. But I know that there's a massive story behind this, because as we've been discussing, this has been a journey to get to this place.
48 years.
48 years. And it's not always been so plain sailing. I think there's been a few challenges along the way.
Yeah.
But because one of the things with Unguarded Warrior is it's a retreat at the minute specifically for men, although you're looking to go into female retreats as well.
Yeah.
But specifically for men right now. And what I know and what I've seen is your love for other men and the way that you want to kind of cultivate a space where they can start to love themselves, which I know sounds really cheesy, but I think it comes from a place where you haven't always had that love for yourself. Mm-hmm. So I know,
or other men,
yeah,
yeah.
You've been completely shut down and in a very different place. So that's interesting in itself. But there's so many other things you do as well, like the functional health stuff that you do, and you've got a media company, and you're sort of. You've got a lot of fingers in a lot of pies. You're creative and you're an ideas man and you're a man that wants to see other people do their best. So there's a lot going on there. There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah. And again, in an uncomfortable way.
Yeah.
That's something I struggle with is seeing what I've achieved, I suppose. And, I think as well, because at the moment in particular I'm in a very weird situation where I'm earning the least money I've ever earned in my life, but I'm the most content I've ever been.
Yeah.
When I say the least money in my life, well, no, actually, because when I was a chef, so I was a chef. When I was
you were a chef
17.
as well.
Yeah, when I was 16, maybe 16, I think, just after my dad died, I think I was a chef then. I can't remember exactly because as we talk about more, stories. I was a chef. Well, I can't remember. Why was I going down that road?
I don't know.
I can't even think now. That's the thing. Anyway, I was a chef. But just the different stories and the different versions and stuff. I'm like, it's weird to think back to all of those things. And even now, that's what I was saying, the money thing. So when I was a chef, I was training to be a chef. I was on like £40 a week back then. It was
of
MVQ,
course. Yeah.
So I'm on more than that. I am more than that, luckily, because I've been in all sorts of trouble. But it's still less than I've ever earned. So, but as I said, I'm the happiest, most content I've ever been. Because I think the reason I stopped myself there is I think happiness is a funny thing to chase.
It's one of those words as well, like love, happiness and sorry are 3 words that I think are about your perception of what that means rather than the overall, because everyone reads happiness, love and sorry in a very different way, don't
Sorry,
they?
that's a funny word.
That's a funny word. Even
English,
love. I know this is going slightly off key because we're talking about happiness, but love is a funny one because you've got so many different versions of love. So if you say I love you to someone, their perception of that might be based on their version of love, not yours, which is just an open-ended, conditional. But they suddenly feel uncomfortable with it
because it means sexual.
Yeah.
It means, it could mean conflict. It can, it can mean I'm scared of that. It's a very weird. Word language is a funny thing, isn't it?
And that's why I know you stop there with the happiness and contentment thing because there's a difference. It's being at peace, maybe, is what you mean.
Yeah, just content. I think content is a nice way because I think with happiness, because it fluctuates. And this is all. I just want to add a caveat before I say anything. Today, these are just my opinions.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm right. I don't think it's the truth because it comes out of my mouth. I don't even think there is a truth. There's just different versions of it.
And they can all be right.
Exactly. And they can all be wrong.
Yeah.
So these are my opinions and I never want to hurt anyone or make anyone feel anything than loved and supported, and particularly myself, because I don't want that for myself either. So opinions are just that, you know. But I think words, that's a big part of what what we try and do at Unguarded Warrior is to get us to manage the self-talk, and with that self-talk change our language. Yeah. Because it hounded me, and it's only this year, literally at 48 years old, I've managed to quell, and I'll say it quell because it's not gone, my negative self-talk.
Which is quite, and the reason I say it's a positive thing to hear, although I'm
massively positive. But
it's
scary.
Scary.
It takes 48 years.
That's what I was going to say.
20 years of doing work.
But that is, I think, really important as well, because so many people have mismanaged expectations of if I go to this 6-week course or I go to this one retreat.
Or one online NLP thing.
Yeah, if I do that, why am I not okay? And actually, it's that continual commitment to yourself.
It's like martial arts. You can't.
Yes.
Life is like martial arts. You can't expect to. You don't complete it.
Yeah.
Like you don't, I mean, I do joke sometimes. Yeah, I completed it, son. You know what I mean? But I haven't. And I love that about it. But it takes a while. In your 20s as a bloke, it's very difficult to go, I'm okay with where I am, because we're just driving. We're like, you want, and I'm only talking from a bloke because I am a bloke. I can't talk about women because I don't know how they feel in that way. But I know as a bloke, you just want to succeed, and it's like, and it seeps out of you. Like, I just want to get somewhere. You know what I mean? It's like that.
Yeah, like a little monster.
Yeah, it's like a Tasmanian devil.
Yeah.
That's how I felt anyway. Yeah. And I know a lot of men feel that. And you get to my age, and I've still got that, but it's a different vibrational energy. It makes sense. Yeah? It's not a frustration anymore. I'm gonna use the bull story. There's two bull. There's a bull and a son bull, whatever that is, a calf. In a field.
His
right?
child.
Yeah, his child, right? And the baby bull goes, Dad, look, there's them cows down there. Let's run down there and shag one of them cows, yeah? The dad's like, nah, son, let's walk down there and fuck them all.
Oh.
And I know it's quite rude, but it's
a good story, yeah.
It's like, just let's think, let's breathe. And that's what I'm trying to get myself to do, and the men that I work with, and women as well that I work with, is just slow our minds down and slow the process down, and then we're gonna respond again, language better.
Do you know why I like that? Because I said this before, actually. I don't think I've shared the short, though, because I felt like I wasn't permitted to, in the sense that I'm not a man, so it's hard for me to do this. But I was talking about men aging, and I was saying that boys are basically taught from day one, be a man, man up. And have sex with as many women as you can, get as bigger muscles as you can, as much money as you can. And then when they get to, I guess, their 40s and their testosterone is declining naturally, 30s and 40s, they might put on a bit of weight, they might be receding. They're no longer that gorgeous. I mean, they still are to me, but they're no longer the gorgeous young man that they were. And the men and girls are no longer dropping their knickers quickly as they used to. And they're not as strong as the 25-year-old, and the muscles aren't quite as big and all of that sort of stuff. They suddenly have this crisis, but they've not been taught how to manage the crisis because their dads and their brothers have done exactly what that bull story is about, which is fuck them all. And actually, that doesn't teach you how to be a man. It teaches you how to be a boy.
100%. And monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
And I've got a real big thing. Like, I did a little post the other day about young kids, like at Finsbury Park.
Yes, I saw it.
Right.
Yeah.
And because I can't be, like, everyone is so hard on kids. Just, we were kids.
Yeah.
We weren't any better than them.
No.
Our parents thought we were fucking losers as well. So shut up. Stop being so hard. They're not, like, what do they call snowflakes? They're not this and not that. They're kids that have been given they're kids that have been given the rules that we've given them. So whose fault is it that they're like that?
Yes.
And then we go and fucking have a go at them. It's like,
It's so true. Donald
not
Sutherland,
nice.
he said this a couple of years before he died. Obviously, there's been a lot of social media posts with him because he's literally just passed away, hasn't he? But he was saying, like, he's basically disappointed with the world his generation has left the kids. And that exactly what you said there, he understands that the way the world is his generation.
Take ownership.
Yeah.
Don't blame like the next generation on. Just take ownership and go, hold on, what can I do better? What are kids, what do you think? Right, if you're two parent, and I'm not a parent, but I was parented.
Yeah.
And I've got nephews and nieces, so I think I can talk on this because I'm an adult. So,
well, yeah, and you've seen a lot.
I'm kind of an adult. I'm still trying to grow into an adult. One day I will. I'm still waiting for my growth spurt. Anyway, I see parents getting pissed, arguing, shouting at each other, not being able to control their emotions, control their food. Again, let me take a step back. Manage their emotions, manage their food, manage their this, manage their that. But then they shout at their children to be a certain way.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that.
No.
You can say that they need to do what they're told because they're my children. They need to respect me, blah, blah. Or you could say, well, if I monkey see, monkey do.
Yes.
And so I've got nephews and niece, and I've tried to be, even when I went through my wildest shit, like really dark shit that's gone on, I've tried to be the same man. All through it. And I'm pretty sure when I think back, I've tried to be that person, not leer at women, not swear to, every now and then with them, but just be balanced, not hate on people.
Yeah.
And if they're hating on people or saying something, I'm like, hold on, that's, should we talk about that? Should we think about that? Your actions, blah, blah, and but also not tell them, don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Be like, okay, let's look at devil's advocate. If you did that, this could happen and blah, 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 blah. That's what I've tried to be. And I'm not perfect because I'm not. I'm a fucking idiot at times, But I think we can do better as adults.
Yeah.
Just generally.
And own it. Like when you're not doing better, admit it. Because if you're holding shame and suppressing it and pretending to be something you're not, you're right. Children don't listen, they watch.
There you go.
So, I mean, and I've got a daughter, as you know, and if I'm doing something which frequently happens that is setting a bad example, it could be the way I talk about myself. It's so subconscious sometimes. And then I catch myself and I say, and I do say this to her, I say, look, whatever maladaptive shit you've just seen, that is mine to carry. Like, please do not feel. Now, that doesn't mean she's not going to absorb some of it because, of course, there's genetic expression and predisposition and ancestral stuff as well, genetic traumas, all that kind of stuff. But I do try and say, and I will say this out loud until the day I die. It doesn't matter how much someone else thinks I've got my shit together. There is always something bubbling under the surface to work on.
Likewise. like one of the guys, I had a young guy come to my retreat, and we do this thing at the end, and he said, "You seem like the most sorted guy in the world." And afterwards, I went to him. I said, "Dude, I am 100% not.
Yeah.
I've just managed to find a way to not kill myself or anyone else."
Yeah, which is very profound.
Genuinely,
Yeah.
that is honestly where I feel like I am in life. And because I felt like when I was young, the madness in my mind, I felt like I was going to wake up one day, like come round, and I'd be like covered in blood, and there'd be like 3 people dead.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, with like bites out. That my mind was, I was almost psychotic.
Well, you were almost visualizing and manifesting
Yeah,
the
I know.
possibility.
I was like, I felt insane. I was doing so many drugs. I was in such a bad place. Literally felt mentally deranged.
That cannot feel nice.
I mean,
we've all been there to a point.
I laugh about it now, but this is the next part to that. I could still believe that I am that, and I think that's what happens. And I'm not a psychiatrist, and I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I've got a thought where I think if I continue to perpetuate that thought, then the thought becomes reality.
Yeah.
That's with everything.
Yeah.
Manifestation, but like that's everything.
Neuroplasticity
Right.
is based on that
There
premise.
you go. The same thing happens, that you'll get the same results.
Neurons that fire together wire
Right.
together.
So if that said, maybe all of the mental health stuff, I think everything mental health can be sorted out.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's born with like these, like the real dark, like people do evil things. I don't think they're just born evil. I don't.
There's a bit of
There's probably some of it.
I
like
think
there's some,
pure psychopaths.
Yeah.
So if you look at your Jeffrey Dahmers,
Yeah.
because I think his mum was, I believe this. So again, don't quote me. I believe she was on certain medications.
So the chemical thing that was going on in them. Yeah,
I've got a client who was born with, and I know this sounds impossible, but it's for those that know. She was born at birth. I know that is obvious, with 27% addiction. She had to be weaned off drugs because her mum was a user. So I think that potentially affects the development.
I agree. So there's things like that. Yeah, I do agree.
But then there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is I don't believe people, but I've said that before, and people have put me. So what I'm saying is I agree. Given the right circumstances, that shouldn't happen. But with drugs, medications, and so on,
and then a poor background,
a
violent childhood, traumatic, all of that, it builds and builds and builds and builds. Then the stories and the thing.
Yeah.
And I get it.
The illusions.
And the victim mode and all of these illusions. And I think we all have it to a point.
Yeah.
Because our imagination is a beautiful thing, right?
Yes.
So a human's imagination can create everything in the most positive and the most destructive
Well, look
way.
at Stephen King. He made a career out of that.
Exactly. So, he's not a psychopath.
No.
I mean, but look at the books he writes.
Yeah.
And then you've got people who invent something.
Yes.
Well, they said, everything around us has been invented from a thought.
Yes. And that's when you start going into the quantum field theories, isn't it? Where you're like, everything is nothing and nothing. What is it? 99.99. Everything is this. Again, don't quote me. Everything is 99.999999999% nothing.
Yeah, like there is. But then I was speaking to, so I was working with this lady, professional boxer, Raven. She's amazing. But I went and did some stuff with her dad as well, and he's a scientist, but I can't remember his science. It's about the stars and
astrology.
Astrophysics.
Astrophysics.
I think I could be wrong, but he was talking about there is more than that. So there's a lot in there.
Well, the problem is with science is there's always going to be about 20 other studies that question.
I've got to say this. Did you watch the Joe Rogan? Have you watched Joe Rogan Experience with Terrence Howard and Eric Weinstein?
No, I still need to see it. I've bookmarked it. Yeah, I've bookmarked it.
I smashed it. I had to. Do you know what? I'm not educated at all, and I didn't get any qualifications at school. No GCSEs, anything. I got U's and F's, which I'm quite proud of. The U's. The history exam. I fell asleep in my history exam, woke up 5 minutes to go. Anyway.
You still got a letter.
Again, I think I did.
Yes, perception.
I think I did.
You might not have been asleep for that long.
Exactly. That might be a story.
that you've told
I've
yourself.
told myself that I can't quite remember that was, and we'll get on to that. Anyway, the Joe Rogan stuff. Terrence Howard and Eric Weinstein. If I don't know if you ever will, but Eric Weinstein, if you ever watch this, you're an absolute legend, mate, because he was so. I can't even think of the way. He was so loving to Terrence Howard, so kind, but in a. It's like he was held him accountable in the most beautiful way.
Yeah. Are
Honestly,
we talking Terrence Howard, the actor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
the green eyes.
He's gone into all this stuff about mathematics and geology and all of that.
Yeah.
He's like a genius.
Yeah.
But he's slightly, the way he talks and he's a polymath because he understands all this different stuff. It's fascinating. But then you've got a set Eric Weinstein who's a mathematician.
Yeah.
And it's very, but he was beautiful. He did it so nicely because Terrence Howard had been destroyed by everyone. But Eric Weinstein was like, and had the conversation and talked to him about what is, and I said, no, you're wrong on this and blah, blah, blah. It was just beautiful.
But done gently.
It was just strongly, but beautifully still. It was with love. And that's what a good man needs to do. And that's what we try and do with my Unguarded Warrior men, coming back to that, is hold each other accountable. So if I'm out with a group of guys and someone's being disrespectful to women, where I was years ago, really bad.
Yeah.
Like I was fucking dark, because I was a wounded little boy. If someone does it now, I'm like, oh, mate, dude. I'm like, come on, it's like 2024. We'd do better than that.
We need to evolve.
You know what I mean? And so don't get loads of invites from blokes anymore going out.
All the women though.
Come
with us.
There's so I'm a bit like, and I feel it. I get it. And I get it because I'm not that guy anymore. I don't want to chat about women. I don't want to like look at I'm not saying I don't look at women because I'd be lying if I don't.
Well, but why wouldn't you?
But I'm not like, oh yeah, fucking look at that. I'd smash that. That's not me. I don't want that anymore. I don't want to be that guy.
Well, that doesn't form good relationships either because it's not a safe energy for you or for them.
More than that, and this is why I don't want to be like that, is because my body keeps the score.
Yes, for sure. Great book.
This is what men... Oh, is it a book?
Yeah, there's a book called The Body Keeps Score.
Okay, so
great book.
Do you know what? I probably have heard of it, and that's probably why I said it. Anyway,
but it's a great saying as well.
But no one's making anything up, are they? That's new.
Well, we are.
Particularly not me.
Especially if...
I'm fucking copying everything.
I came up on that note, sorry to butt in, I came up with a really clever journal technique. Now, I'm not saying no one else has come up with it, but for people that don't like to journal, this is a great technique.
Have you put it out? Have you done it?
I do it myself.
Yeah, but have you done a book that can...
I can't do a book, and it's because I'm using technology to do it. I'll tell you what it is quickly before we'll park that.
Yeah.
You go into your Apple Notes or your phone's notes, if it's Android, dictate, so you got your little microphone at the bottom, dictate, then you copy paste the transcription, you put that into ChatGPT and you say make this a comprehensive journal entry. Then I'm telling my clients to do this. If you've got a therapist or a coach, you put their details in ChatGPT. In the style of my therapist, give me 3 actionable goals. Or in the style of my coach, James from Unguarded Warrior. Ooh. And what happens is they've got a little bit of the tone of what because ChatGPT will search Google for you.
Google and hear anything that's podcast, whatever it is.
And it searches your tone.
That's really interesting,
So it means, because obviously I see my clients.
That's really clever.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, someone else might have thought of that as well, because obviously there's loads of clever people, but I'd never heard that before.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a way of keeping myself accountable.
I like that.
And then you can obviously print it out and you can stick it in your journal, or you could just keep it in your notes folder. And it just means that you've got that.
Kids, go and do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's a game changer. Nice.
I don't know why we've said that, but I think it was because you were saying, oh, that's it. You said the body keeps the score. And you said, oh, I'm just making it up. But actually, sometimes your brain, yes, subconsciously might have heard it, but it still feels very new and genuine and authentic.
Yeah. I think you're right. And I think that's the reason I wanted and I want to continue to do is change my thoughts is because they were hurting me. really
So
bad.
even those moments where you'd see an attractive woman and be like, oh,
Yeah.
that was hurting you
It's
because
hurting
you were like,
because I liken it to, I take a little, every time I have a negative thought or a negative cycle or I do something that is not nourishing to me, like I drink too much, or I used to lie and say I don't do gear, but then I do a line of gear every now and then. That's not living in alignment with me. I used to steal from fucking Waitrose at the shopping thing.
Yeah.
Loads of men do that.
Yeah. I know they do.
Loads of men.
Yeah.
So I get it, because we want that naughty, like we're still feeling a bit like, well, we're pushing the boundaries. But
Risk.
We can find that in other ways, but we have to go and search that. We got to do it in better ways, because that takes a bit of our soul away each time we do it. And then we end up not really knowing who we are. And that, I think, is a lot of the problem with men my age particularly. We've played a character and a part with different things, and with ourself, we don't know who we are. So we've lost the voice that we knew who we are, knew what to do and all of that. But we've lost that because we've had all this other stuff clouding us, stories from the past, porn, drugs, drink, violence, Netflix, stealing stuff, leering, whatever it is. I had to stop that. I had to get out of that prison in my head, because it was fucking hurt. I was so tired of it.
Well, first of all, a couple of things to say there is that, all you hear is shame there. I'm ashamed of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And men don't often talk about shame. Women are getting better at it because of the great Brené Brown. That's her whole work around shame.
Yeah.
So women are really sort of, I don't think men have latched onto that as much. However, that's an overstatement perhaps.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But equally, you are 48, you're married. You are married, aren't you? Yeah, you are married. You've changed careers and gone more into this space, which is the love work, the passion project. But there where you say that, like, my mind's going, okay, that's great that you recognised it, but what made it possible for you to set that intention and take action? Because that's completely different to recognising it. That's a difficult question. I know I've put you on the spot, because perhaps it just felt organic and natural at the time.
It's been circumstances. It's things that have happened to me, for me, whatever it is. It's like things that have gone on in my life that have forced me to take stock, because I just don't want to. I don't want to be, and I didn't want to. I just didn't want to be unhappy anymore. Yeah, and that's it. And like, genuinely, I was tired. I was tired of having the same thoughts go around in my head, the same feelings of not enoughness, the same feelings of shame, the same feelings of not thinking that I was this, that, or the other. I'm just so tired of it. So tired. And even sitting here now, I feel how tired I was of it. And I feel sad for myself mentally.
So do you feel it in your body?
For myself, yeah, but I feel sad for myself that I went through that. But I'm also grateful because I'm who I am now.
Yeah.
But I do feel sad that I was really, I don't know. I was in a real bad, at times, really bad way, like real bad. And you talk about shame, that's the shame that when I lost all my money, is the shame that I wanted to kill myself from that.
It's often with male suicide, it's finance.
Massively.
It's often finance,
Massive.
Isn't it?
It's because everything's predicated on that as being a successful man.
You're right, yeah.
You've only got to listen to Andrew Tate. If you're not a millionaire by whatever, you're a fucking idiot or whatever. And I'm like,
what a guy.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's just, unfortunately, he can be his facade can be as tough as you want. He's just a wounded little boy, and I don't hate him. I actually feel for him, and I'd like to get him and give him a hug and say, mate, it's all right.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'll sort it out one day, because he might do. But
his whole career's based on it now.
Yeah,
so
but
you
never know. I hold hope.
Good for you.
If I can change, he can change.
And that's true. He can.
He can.
It's not impossible. We know.
Nothing is. And honestly, I should hate men. I should hate them. The shit I've had happen to me in my life,
Because of men.
I should hate them.